Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my announcement video where I'm going to give you all the details of my third annual reading challenge. Now, I love this reading challenge. I love the community that it has grown. I love the books we read together, and it's just a very simple, very straightforward reading challenge with some very broad prompts, as well as some buddy reads if you choose to participate. So let's just hop into all the details of my 2025 reading challenge. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back. Like I said, we're talking about the reading challenge. Now this is a reading challenge that is just open to everybody. It's open to the public. There's no like paywall or anything like that. There is a Discord group that I have linked down below, as well as a file for all the graphics that I'm going to be sharing with you. So in case you are a reading journal person, you can get all prepared and all planned out for 2025. First, I guess we should start with the name change. Now, like I said, this is going to be my third year of running this reading challenge, and you guys, I have changed the name every year. You shouldn't do that, right? That really is not consistent, and people say don't do that. But I just finally came up with a name that is a little bit more meaningful, and it's going to stick. It's going to stick. So this reading challenge is officially called Elevate Your Reading. I called it that because, one, I live in Colorado, which is a very mountainous state, and so you'll see on all the graphics there kind of has a mountain theme. Also, I like the idea of kind of elevating your reading, like the idea of taking your reading to the next level. So I just really like that. It really lands, and I'm going to keep it. So Elevate Your Reading is now what it's called. So now let's talk some just basic information about the challenge. So it's a 12-month challenge with the idea that there is a prompt every month that is very broad, that you can really fit so many different genres or books or how you read into this challenge, which makes it really fun. But my favorite part is you can also join us for a buddy read. So I take that prompt and I associate a book with it. Now it really fits me. Like for instance, there's one that's favorite author, and spoiler, I used Richard Osman, but that might not be a favorite author for you, but go with me. You can join the buddy read, or you can do both. I have some people in there who do both. They do the prompt as well as the buddy read. So it's very loose, it's very fun. You will find the community over there is very supportive, and we're constantly exchanging book recommendations. So now I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything. That almost sounds too simple. So let's then go over the graphic for the reading challenge. Starting off in January. January was such a fun month to plan because it's a little bit nostalgic. It's a little kickback to last year's reading challenge. And so the prompt for January is a recent read. This could be so many different books, basically any book that's come out recently that maybe you have been wanting to prioritize but just haven't. And what we're reading together though for the buddy read is this book. And so this is what I mean by it's a little bit of a kickback to last year. So this is Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. Now we buddy read What the River Knows last year in January. We kicked off our buddy reading experience with that book. And this is the sequel to the duology. So this kind of finishes out the story. I'm pretty sure it finishes it out. This is a YA fantasy book that is slightly historical. It's set, I can't quite remember, maybe 100 years ago, something like that, with our main character who is rich and sheltered, and her parents were kind of these famous archaeologists who were always going to Egypt and finding all these artifacts and things like that. And then she finds out that they have died or they've been killed, and she hears about that. And instead of going about her life, she takes it upon herself to go to Egypt. And the plot goes from there, and this, I think, picks up right where that one left off, which it left off on such a cliffhanger. I remember when we finished it last year, we're all like, what? I need to read the sequel like as soon as possible. So we're reading it together, which again is really something I love about this challenge, is the kind of together aspect of it. So that's January. Rolling into February, I'm really excited about this book as well. The general prompt is a traveling book. So any book that involves traveling. This could be so many different things. Like I feel like memoirs fit this when someone's kind of telling their story. I feel like any kind of like questy fantasy book, but also like road trip books. So I feel like you could hit a lot of different genres with that prompt, but the way I'm interpreting it in terms of our buddy read is this book. And so this is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I really enjoy this author. I read Once and Future Witches and I really liked it. And now this one sounds a little bit more like portal kind of traveling potentially. So our main character of January, I think she finds like a book, and the book has doors in it that I think she travels through. Honestly, I feel like I haven't looked too much into this book. I want to experience it and it just sounds really fun. And so this is what we are reading in February, even though it does say January. It's our February buddy read book. Moving into March, the March prompt is favorite author. So again, this one's very broad. You could take this a lot of different directions. Now for me and my reading taste, I have really enjoyed Richard Osman. And I thought this was a good book to pick as our buddy read because this past year, or this current year, 2024, we have read a number of the books in the Thursday Murder Club series. We read book 2, book 3. Currently in December, we're reading book 4, and now there's a book 5. I just saw the announcement. So stoked. But anyway, so I feel like for a lot of us, Richard Osman has become a favorite author. So I thought slotting in his new book here would be perfect for our buddy read. And that book is We Solve Murders. I still need to get it for myself, but I'm very pumped about it. Honestly, I don't even know what it's about. I just know it's a Richard Osman book. It's March, and for some reason I associate March with like murder mysteries. Maybe you all do too, but that's the buddy read for March. Okay, April. April, I'm so excited about. So the general prompt for April is emotional book. And I feel like this, again, you could take a couple different ways. I didn't want to put like a book that makes you cry, even though that's kind of the buddy read book, which I'll show in just a minute. But I also feel like there's lots of books that can make you emotional. Like you could be like angry. You could be all fired up about like a social issue. There's just so many different things that can evoke emotion. And so that's the general prompt. What we're going to read as our buddy read is going to be the new Abby Jimenez book. You guys, I kind of stumbled across Abby Jimenez over this past year. I think I read maybe my first one in 2023. Irregardless, I find her writing style to just draw me in. It has a very realistic, like real to life characters. Like they are messed up in certain ways, and that trauma really lends itself to the storyline. And I feel like it's handled in ways that are realistic as opposed to some other books, but I feel like Abby Jimenez just is kind of gifted in that way. Her newest book is called Say You'll Remember Me. Now the key here is it comes out April 1st, and this is our April buddy read. So I realize that's cutting it a little close, and I don't usually like to do that, but I'm so excited, and I don't think I'll be able to wait to read this book. So I just made it our April buddy read, but hopefully if you are like me, you can put in your library hold. That's my plan. So I'm going to put in my library hold and hopefully read this in April with you all. So to move on to the May book, the prompt for May is a book with a unique cover. Very subjective, very broad. I think you guys can handle that. What I find to be a unique cover is this book. Now this is Recursion by Blake Crouch. I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and I know a number of you have read it, but when I put the poll out to Discord to kind of assess some good buddy reads for the 2025 reading challenge, a number of you wanted to read this with me, so I'm really excited. I hope there's more of you that will join me because I know it has something to do with like memory and neuroscience, and that's about it. But what I feel like from reading, I guess I've only read Dark Matter, is I feel like Blake Crouch has a way of just drawing you into a story. It's complex and scientific in a way, but very approachable science, and so I'm hoping that's the same for this book, and I think it has a very unique cover. So this is going to be our May buddy read. And now moving on to June. June is going to be fun too. So the general prompt for June is water on the cover. I felt like that was perfect for summertime. You can get so many like summer romances in with that prompt, or other things. Like there's plenty of other books with water on the cover. The one that I'm really interested because one of you recommended this book to me after I was talking about the latest Stuart Turton, The Last Murder at the End of the World, and just how unique and clever and complex his books are. One of you mentioned this book and said it was very underrated and not many people are reading it. And so I looked at it and I was like, yes, this sounds really interesting. So it's called Adrift by Lisa Bordeaux. Now this book I think is kind of a thriller book about a woman who wakes up in a like abandoned boat on the ocean. And she wakes up to a note. This is what the note says: start over, don't make yourself known, don't look back. And so I want to know. I want to know what this is about. And so this will be our buddy read for June. I hope you all want to join me on this. I don't even know when this came out, 2023, but it just sounds really fun and really interesting. The next book is also a 2025 anticipated release for me. But let's first talk about the July prompt, shall we? And that would be an adventurous book. So a book involving adventure. The one that I'm excited about is the new Taylor Jenkins read. It's called Atmosphere From what I understand, and again, I didn't deep dive into this, it's about like the space race. And so she writes slightly historical books. So I feel like her niche is like the 20th century. And so I don't know if it's like science-y or how our main character is linked into the space race. I just feel like Taylor Jenkins Reid does such an excellent job of putting you in that time frame and then crafting a very emotional story around it. And I really love the cover. So all of those things is made this our buddy read, and I don't know if it comes out in July or June, but regardless, I'm excited, so hopefully you guys can join me for that one. Okay, moving on to August. I wanted the prompt to be intimidating book. That doesn't only mean length of book, although our buddy read selection is a bit chunky, but it could mean a lot of things, like a book that you've been putting off because you feel like it's going to be like heart-wrenching, or a book that you feel like would be maybe academic, but you're really interested in it, like a good nonfiction. So intimidating read of some sort will be the August prompt, but what I want to read with you all, and this is one of the books that got the most votes in the poll that I ran to see what you guys were interested in, and that is The Will of the Many by James Islington. So this series is called Hierarchy, book 1, and I think book 2 comes out sometime in 2025. So that's actually perfect. I feel like if we like it, we can kind of unofficially keep buddy reading the series, but it is such a large book. And I've never read from this author before. I feel like he writes epic high fantasy. This one I think is academic in nature. So yes, there's this elite Katanen Academy, and our main character, orphaned, sent there to solve a murder. Interesting. Anyway, I've heard so many good things about this book. Like, it's people's favorite book of the year, things like that. So I'm excited to finally get to it, but I'm also excited to read it with others. So I hope you want to join the buddy read for that month. And then moving into the fall, moving into September, I feel like this is slightly controversial, as I think it just won maybe the Goodreads Choice Awards for mystery thriller, which surprised me. I know it's a mystery, but I've heard it's a literary thriller. But I forgot to tell you what the prompt is and why I picked this one. The prompt for September is to read a book outside of your comfort zone. Now, literary fiction is outside of my comfort zone, which is why I picked this. It might not be outside of your comfort zone, but irregardless, I really want people to read this book with me because I feel like it is getting a lot of attention based on a couple of things. One, is it truly mystery thriller? Where does this book belong? I kind of like genre blending books, and I think this one will be that. I think it's about this family. I think it's a summer camp family, and a teenager goes missing, but she is from the same family that I think owns this summer camp. I could be wrong about that, but I do know that her brother had also gone missing like years in the past. And so like, are they targeting the family? What's going on? I've heard it's really slower paced, but thought-provoking. So we are going to read it together. So please join me, because I think this will be a good one. I don't know if I said it. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I meant to say that. But this is the buddy read for September. All right. Now, October. You guys, I'm doing kind of a throwback book here. Yes, my prompt is backlist book. So many backlist books, right? Like, I can't read them all, and I wish I could. I wish I read faster. But this book and this whole series has been on my short list for so long, and I have not got to it. And for some reason, I feel like I should start it in the fall. I don't have to. There's no reason, but I want to. And that is the whole, I think it's called the Schoolomance series by Naomi Novik, the first book being A Deadly Education. I believe there's 4 books in this whole series. It's actually quite small. This is one of the smaller books that I have picked for a buddy read, but this is what I want to buddy read with all of you. And I know that this is an older book, so a lot of you might have already read it. Maybe you haven't. From what I understand this book to be about is it is kind of dark academia. There's a school, but I think the school has like monsters and you have to survive. I don't know, but I want to know. So we're going to start this series. And again, if we want to continue this series, we can do it together. So that is the selection for October's buddy read. So the prompt for November is 5 or more words in the title. And so the buddy read for this actually has more than 5 words in the title, but I feel like I didn't want to say 7 because I feel like that's actually quite a few words, and I think 5 might be a little easier to handle. So hopefully you guys can find books within that prompt, but even if you can't, you can read this with us. I've been wanting to pick up this whole series, and I know there's another book. There was like a Christmas book that just came out, but I'm like, no, I'm going to read this book to see if I, one, like this author before I kind of get sucked into the Christmas spin-offs, which have been kind of common. So the book is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. And I think that's pretty much what the book is about. The fact that everybody has killed someone. I'm not sure what the catch is or what the situation is, but I'm curious. I've been curious about this book for so long. And so I'm going to read it, and I feel like it'll be really fun as a buddy read. So hopefully you guys want to join me for this book in November. And then finally, December. So December, I never want to include a buddy read. It's just that month that is busy, and I feel like not as many people would want to participate. We can always come up with one if we want to kind of on the side do a buddy read, but there's no official buddy read for December. There is a prompt though if you wanted to pick a book to really complete the year. I know there's some definite completionists, myself included, and so I always include the prompt of a book that has been recommended in this group, because you guys, there are so many books that we talk about in Discord that we recommend to each other if we recommend it for a prompt or just recommend it in general, like, what are you reading? Tell me what you're reading kind of sections in Discord where we just talk books, and that's a great place to get recommendations, or you could just ask for a recommendation. There's so many great people in there that will be happy to share their favorite books with you. So that's December's prompt, but December is just one of those months. I don't feel like it's necessary to schedule a book, but I still do love reading with all of you. So that's it. Those are the details. Everything will be linked down below. Graphics, Discord group, all the things. I should be getting the Discord group switched over to 2025 here sometime in December. Let me know down below if you're planning on joining us. And if you are, maybe which of these buddy reads you're most excited about, because I'm excited about all of them. I cannot wait. It's going to be a really fun year of reading together and encouraging each other along our reading journey. But if you have nothing you necessarily want to say, maybe leave, I don't know, a little list emoji or something like that to show us that we're very good at planning and we can plan out our reading year. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you're really enjoying the end of 2024 in your life and your book life, all the things. And I really do appreciate all of you. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want to. And you guys, I'll see you in the next book video. All right, take care.